Hello, welcome to the self learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we start Unit 7 Dalit Movements, and our topic is Bahujan Samaj Party and the Dalits. The formation of the BSP by Kanshiram in 1984 makes a new beginning in the history of Dalit mobilization and politics in the country. One of the significant features of the BSP happens to be the fact that it had succeeded at least partially, particularly in North India, where Ambedkar and Ambedkarites failed in their objective in the country in more than 50 years. The BSP succeeded at a time in North India when the Dalit parties in Western India were under disarray. The BSP, after its formation, has not only succeeded in establishing a stronghold in some states in northern India, but it has also been able to form governments along with its pre or post electoral allies in the critically important state of Uttar Pradesh. Though the governments were short lived, yet these are remarkable events since it has important implications for the Dalits not only in the state of Uttar Pradesh but throughout the country. Gay Lombe had termed the formation of this party as deliberate. It has its root in a government employees federation called the BAMCEF, that is Backward and Minority Central Government Employees Federation, which was formed in 1978 by Kashiram in Punjab, but later on extended to Uttar Pradesh. Initially, the BAMCEF supported the activities of the RPI in Maharashtra and sought the support of all the SCs and politicians from other parties. Its primary aim, however, was to organize the elite section of Dalits who had benefited from the policies of reservation of the Government of India. The formation of this organization was critical because it is this organization that provided the initial organizational and financial base for the BSP. Kashiram tried to argue and mobilize Dalits on the grounds that the further advance of the community could only take place if the whole community stood in a group. He was successful in this effort, considering that within a span of more than a decade, in the early 1990s, and BAMCEF had a membership of around 2 lakhs. The most important decision that was taken in the course of the formation of the BSP was the formation of Dalit Shoshit Sangharsh Samiti, commonly known as the DS4 in 1981. The formation of this organization was critically important considering that it is through this organization Kashiram tried to increase his influence among other sections of the society, which was hitherto not touched by the BMCEF. The DS4, in fact, served as the organizational base for the formation of the BSP and took up political issues. It did so in two significant ways. One was through ideological campaigns that it carried with its mouthpiece, the oppressed Indian, and the secondly through the organization of meetings, rallies, mainly bicycle rallies, and social action programs throughout the country. Through the first, it sought to educate, organize, and agitate the oppressed groups, and through the second, it sought to restore self respect and equality for the oppressed caste in the society. The activities of the DS4 were prominent and frequent in 1983 and 1984, that is, just before the formation of the BSP. Hence, it is clear that DS4 was precursor to the formation of the BSP by Kashiram, and in this sense, the formation of the BSP was a calculated and deliberate one. It appears that it is through the DS4 Kashiram sought to do the necessary spade work before the formation of the BSP. Having set the stage and the ground, Kashiram inaugurated the BSP on the 14th of the April 1984. He acquired a useful partner when he persuaded Mayawati to join the party in Uttar Pradesh. The joining of Mayawati in Uttar Pradesh became crucial for BSP because with this the party was able to get a solid leader in the state. Mayawati belonged to a Chamar family and studied in Meerut and Delhi University and was in the teaching profession. He left her job to become a full-time politician. Her family was in fact associated with the RPI for some time in Uttar Pradesh. Kashiram, it is said, deliberately tried to construct a new ethnic category, the Bahujan, which included the SC, ST, OBCs, and the converted minorities. This he did deliberately, keeping in mind that the SCs alone cannot give him the much needed power because of their numbers, which is around 15% of the population and one third of the total electorate in the country. With a careful appeal to the ex untouchables and with the appealing slogans of Brahmin, Baniya, Thakur, Chor, Bhaki Sab, DS4, the BSP made a immediate impact on the Dalit vote bank in the North India. Dalits in northern India had traditionally rallied behind the Congress party, but soon it was found that the BSP was making inroads into the Congress vote bank. In the Lok Sabha elections, which were held in December 1984, and the Assembly election in March 1985, though it lost all the seats in the state it contested, it was able to draw millions of votes. More importantly, it was able to draw the votes of the Congress, as a result of which 51 seats went to the Lok Dal. It was able to repeat its performance in Punjab in the same year, held after a few months. It adversely affected the Akali Dal in Punjab. In this period, the BSP and the DS4 campaigned throughout the country through naive means and could consolidate its support base further in northern India. Naive form of campaign including the use of bicycles, organizing huge cycle and other form of rallies and awakening programs. In these campaigns, the BSP chose to attack domination of the upper caste in the society and wretched condition of the scheduled castes and other downtrodden in the country. This helped the party extended and consolidated its base, and its proof was the Allahabad Lok Sabha by-election in 1987. Kashiram, as the BSP candidate, was able to secure 18% of the popular votes against 24% of the Sunil Shastri and 54% of VP Singh. On the whole, in the elections, the BSP showed its growing popularity among those social groups which were earlier with the Congress. It was with this election that the BSP emerged as a central political force and Kashi Ram became a national figure. In 1989, Lok Sabha elections followed and the party fared quite well by securing three seats with 2.4% all India votes from the 235 Lok Sabha constituencies that it contested. With this impressive performance, the BSP was able to become the sixth all India party in terms of vote polled. It continued its electoral gains and was successful in getting itself recognized as a national party by the Election Commission in 1997. In Uttar Pradesh, it had been the largest gainer. Its seats went on increasing in the state assembly from 13 in 1989 to 66 in 1993. In the elections held in 1996, it gained 66 seats. Its best performance, however, has been in the 2002 elections when it secured 97 seats. This performance of BSE is remarkable considering that in the previous election it had secured 66 seats, though its strength ultimately got reduced to 43 by 1998 due to a number of splits in the party. Its vote share in the state has been around 20%, which is very impressive. After having discussed about the spectacular growth of the party, let us turn to its ideology and strategy that it had adopted so far. Now let us discuss ideology. The BSP ideology has to be understood in the background of the overall effort made towards mobilization of the Dalits since the national movement in India. It must be noted in the beginning that its ideology has been shifting from time to time. according to its strategic needs. Gilombe has noted that the BSP ideology can best be described as vague. She argues that there is no clear ideology in the program and functioning of the party. The sole trust is that on the breaking of the caste system after acquiring state power. What is, however, true is that it has no economic programs as such, and hence the party is not clear what it intends to do after acquiring power. It is because of this ideological vagueness one finds that most of its agitations are symbolic in nature, and it is not around economic issues. And secondly, because of this, it had vacillated on economic issues after acquiring power in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Due to this vagueness, it becomes very difficult to comment on its ideology. A tentative effort must, however, be made here. One thing that needs to be said in the beginning is that ideologically the BSP draws heavily from the writings of the Ambedkar and to a large extent from the speeches of Kashiram and Mayawati. The party also draws inspirations from Phule and Periyar. The central point regarding its ideology is that it provides a critique of the Brahminical social order in the country. In this critique, it draws heavily from Phule, who provided a critique of Brahmanism and Brahmin power in Maharashtra in the second half of the 19th century. The BSP and Kashiram believe that the Indian society consists of two different groups. The first group consists of the low castes, including the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, and the religious minorities. In the second category, it is the Brahmins, Kashyas, Banyas, and Rajputs, or the traditional upper caste. The higher caste, though, constitute only a minority, around 15% of the population, yet still they manage to rule because of the votes and thus the consent they acquire from the lower caste. This system, according to the BSP, will not continue and will come to an end as soon as the lower caste capture political power. In Kashiram's opinion, the Brahminical social order that existed is Aryan in its origin. The Aryans evolved this social order after invading India and subjugating the original inhabitants or the Mool Nivasis, that is, the Dravidian in the country. After the Aryans' conquest, and Dravidian were reduced to the level of untouchables. This social order that came into being after the Aryan conquest to Kashiram is based on caste and not class, and it rests upon falsehood of and religious myths. Hence, the Brahminical social order which emerged was a social order that was unjust and in which Brahmanism became the ruling socio-cultural ideology. The purpose of this ideology was the complete justification of the division of the society into major caste groups. Historically, the BSP argues that no Hindu community but only jatis and the Samaj ever existed, which came into existence. Hence, one notes that the perception of the BSP on the Indian society is similar to the perceptions which emerged in South India during the colonial period, as reflected in the Dravidian movement of Naikar or Pariyar and the early ideology of DMK and also that of Phule. It is from this assessment of the Indian social order that they construct their objective and strategy. The main aim is to end or destroy Brahminical rule and attain political power for the Bahujans' attainment or capture of political power is the key to them. According to Kashiram, political power is the master key with which you can open any lock, whether it is social, educational, or cultural lock. Therefore, the attainment of political power is central to their strategy by which any transformation can be made. This will help improve the economic advancement of the Bahujans in the society. It is only after the attainment of state power historical injustices can be corrected and the Bahujans and more particularly the Dalits can improve their socio-economic conditions. Thus, the BSP believes in total revolution, in the total destruction of Hindu social order, but this was to take place only through the ballot box. It firmly believes that the condition and position of the Dalits can improve for the better by a two-stage revolution. The first is through electoral victory from the Brahmins and upper caste, those who constitute only around 15% of the Indian population. And in the second stage, the revolution will penetrate deeper into the society and will thoroughly transform it. The BSP contends that democracy which exists in the country is a fake dominated by the upper caste. It belongs to them. The establishment of this democracy through adult franchise has helped the upper caste and their parties who continue to hold power over the political and social system. The Congress, the dominating party in the country, has been the political party of the upper caste and had pursued policies throughout for the benefit of the upper caste. The policies which it pursued for the lower caste did not benefit them at all. In this kind of situation, what is therefore necessary is to establish real and substantial democracy where the power would be in the hands of the majority, the Dalit and the Bahujans. Now we want to wind up this lecture and thank you so much for your attention.